Chapter 5, Lesson 1 in Photoshop here. We go into setting the default background and foreground and background colors. And this is also very important. You're going to use this all the time. First, we're going to Control O to open from the data files 5 PsCS5 So M drive, Mr. Sun. I'm going to go to the Photoshop data files. We're in Chapter 5. And the file that we want to use is 5-1. Right away, they tell you to file save this as basketball star. A lot of people are, skipping that second half of the instructions. You always need to. You never really leave the data file name the same. Okay. Usually they tell you to change. So basketball star PSD is what you want to save it onto. And again, some of you guys also. I am assuming this is what's happening. Some of you guys are actually changing the file type in here at this time because you're going to have to upload a JPEG. Some of you guys already changed it in here, and that is a mistake. Okay? If you do that, if you change it here at this point to JPEG, you lose a lot of your work all the time. You're going to get some work done, and then you're going to close your file. You come back next day and try to work on it, and you can't. Okay? Keep it PSD, keep it Photoshop format until you are all done, and then you change it. So I'm going to save this on my desktop. You can save it whatever you want. Alright, everybody good? Fortunately, I cannot see your monitors. But I'm going to Control 0 here to bring this kid closer. We're gonna click on this on my tool panel. And I'm going to make this tool panel a double column panel. You can just leave your single column. This makes it a little easier to see. And I think the book actually leaves it a single panel. But anyways, you're going to click on the default foreground and background colors button, which is this guy here. It's in the lower left corner of your background and foreground color tools. Okay? So you're going to click on this guy here. Click. When you do that, that actually changes this back to default. And default is always the foreground color is black and the background color is white. Okay? So that is your default. We're going to change the status bar of the document so that the document size displays. My status here, we're going to change this to document, what's it called? They want you to document size. Yeah, mine's already right. Okay, so make sure you go on the bottom here on the status bar for the document. And you're going to see that my document at this point is going to fall in between 160 megs to 2.2 at this point. Number 4, we're going to display rulers, and we're going to make sure they are in pixels. So Control R is the fastest way to show rulers, or you can go to View, Rulers. But Control R should be something that you know by now. You're going to right-click on the rulers and make sure they are displaying in pixels and nothing else. Okay? Once you click on one of the rulers, you don't have to click on the other one. The also changes automatically there. Everybody good? Alright, we're going to move on. On page 5-8, you're going to change the background color using the color panel. So let's go, we're going to click on the background layer. You have to have your layers panel. Click on the background layer, and now you'll have the background layer selected. We're going to display the legacy workspace. So let's go to Window, Workspace. We're going to change that to... I guess we never actually made this. I don't have it, so it's not a big deal. I'm just not gonna use it. I'll leave it in Essentials. Okay, I don't have Legacy, as I say on step number 2. If you do, fine. Go ahead and click on the name of your workspace. But if you don't have it, not a big deal. Leave it on Essentials. I'm gonna click Window on the application. We're gonna open the color panel right now, and I already have mine open, which is this guy. This is the color panel. If you don't have the color panel open, you go to Window, and you go Color on the color here, under Window. And that should show up right here. Okay? Or you can just click on your keyboard F6, which is a shortcut key. If they give you a shortcut key for the panel, chances are you use it all the time. Color panel is one of those that you use that quite frequently. You're going to notice here that you have RGB color sliders, or you can put numbers in there, values. And they always start, each channel color, red, green, or blue for RGB, they always start at black and they go to the whatever color they are. And this is because black in this case is the absence of color, right? So you really go from no brightness at all in their channel all the way to the most bright that you can get. So and this ranges from 0 to 255. So you have this range of values that you can use in each color. Okay, and as you change this, you're also going to see that the foreground color changes. If I'm combining red and green, I get yellow. If I combine red and blue, I get violet, purple, or something. Okay, if I combine green and blue, I get this aqua thing. And if I combine, I don't know, green and red, red and green, I get yellow. Okay? So this is how these things combine. And they want you to put the values 110 for red. Oh, and by the way, I just want you to show you this. This little shindig here is very important. It shows you that your color is out of gamut. Okay? And this is interesting because when you're making a color that you have, I don't know, when does it stop? Look, I have my amount of red in this picture. I have if I want a color like this salmon looking color, this little guy here is telling me that, hey, if I wanted to print this image that I have, it wouldn't look exactly the same because this is already at a gamut. I'm already went out to in an area in which, you know, I can't print this in the CMYK system. So anyway, so they want you to change this to 110, red in 110, green in 150, and blue in 176. Okay? Or you can just highlight and type it in. Red 110, green 150, and blue 176. And then you're going to click the paint bucket tool on the tools panel and pay attention to the color that you have. Is the color that you made with the color picker is right here. Okay, so is your foreground color. If you wanted to change that background color, you could, on the color picker, you could click on the background color button and change it. And you're going to notice that that changes over here on the toolbox as well. But we don't need to do that at this point, right? So we're not doing that. We're just dealing with the foreground color. We're going to change this to the paint bucket tool, which is under the gradient tool next to the, I don't know, the eraser tool. So, or you can shift the G until you see paint bucket. Okay? So now you have that. Remember, what layer are we targeting at this point? Is the layer what? Is the hoopster or the background? Background. Which means that if I even come with this paint bucket full of this grayish blue and I drop it on top of the kid's forehead, am I going to change the color of the kid? Yes or no? No. Click. Boom. It affects the background color. So now you just changed the color for the background. But for this to work, obviously, you have to have the background layer selected, targeted in your layers panel. Okay? If you have the hoopster layer targeted, then bad things are going to happen. So make sure you're working off of the right layer, always, in Photoshop. They actually want you to undo that. So we're going to go to the history panel and undo. I don't even have my history panel open, so I'm going to go ahead and go get it. History. I don't really use my history panel because I don't make mistakes, I guess. So anyways, so you go ahead and you can erase this state. Boom. Click on delete. delete the state paint bucket, it brings you back to normal, what it was before. But they really want you to use this. We're going to change the color of the background, but we're going to use the eyedropper tool. So make sure background is selected. Make sure background is back to white. We're going to go back to the eyedropper tool, which is shortcut key I. But if you don't have that, Shift I until you cycle through it. And the eyedropper tool is basically this dropper thing. And its main use is to sample colors. Okay? So it's a quick way of, oh, you see something pretty you like, you want to use a color, boom, use this the eyedropper tool to capture that color. So anyways, click the green part of the palm of the boy's shirt. It's very little. How do I know I'm going to get it? Is I'm going to just use the zoom tool. I'm going to go get close. And I'll get the eyedropper tool. And I'll choose green. But pay attention to my screen here. You're going to notice that there are areas that are different. I have a lighter green. I have a darker green. So, you know, the book doesn't really tell you which one you want, which one to get. So, just be cognizant that depending on where you click on this little palm tree, the green that you're getting is a little different. I'm going to go for a brighter green, so I'm going to try to sample these guys here. Yeah, this is pretty dry. Yeah, I'm going to use this green here. I like this green better. Choose whatever green you want. As long as it's green, it'll be okay. Make sure you don't get blue in there. Okay, so anyways, I got green. Now, interesting thing here is, if you notice my background foreground tool, what I changed was my background color, and that happened because on my colors panel, I had the background color targeted. Okay, so you see how you can click on this thing and change it around in color. When I was playing with the background color, I left it over there. So, you know, I can resample that by activating the foreground and then clicking again, or I can just go over here on this switch foreground and background colors and click on that, and that switches forward and backward. Or you can use X on your keyboard. Control 0 to back out of this guy here. I'm going to get the paint bucket by pressing G. I'm going to make sure I'm on the right layer, and I click on the background layer anywhere, and I created a green background. And that concludes lesson number 1 in chapter 5.